Right, we have to go through this paper quickly. Right, the mock paper 2, section B. Now if you look at this graph of it, this whole table over here, sometimes you not have to really go through everything. Just by a glance, look at R. It says it need not need any food, any air and water. Straight away you know that it is a non-living thing, right? It can move from place to place. So R is bus. Okay, you can see here R is a bus. Okay, and for here, need sunlight to survive. Straight away you know that it's plant. Okay, need air, water, so sunlight to make food, and this is the apple tree, and the other are Q, S, P and R. Okay, let's just carry on. Sorry about this line over here, the scanner has been very bad. Now the classification chart below shows two groups of things. Group X consists of living things and group Y consists of non-living things. So this is living, non-living. Okay, now what is important is do not mention the physical characteristics, but mention what it can do and what they need. That is more important, right? So group X need air, food and water, but group Y do not need them. Okay, you have to say, once you talk about differences, you have to talk about X, then you talk about Y. Next over here, group X, okay, can move by themselves. They can grow, move and reproduce, but group Y can't do, okay, the following characteristic can't perform. Okay, over here B, give an example that can be placed in group X. Okay, so any living things, the answer can be, for example, given to a bacteria, fish, monkey and so on. Okay, actually it's a fish tank showing the water is quite high and the fish is having problem of breathing. It goes to the surface. Okay, now when Don tried to catch the goldfish with a net, it swam quickly away. Which characteristics of living things was the goldfish exhibiting, image showing? Okay, now when it goes away, it means it's respond. Okay, it can respond, and usually we will not put a goldfish can respond, but we have to talk about living thing as a whole. Can you see over here it says living things, so your response must be living things can respond to stimuli or changes in their surrounding. Now let's talk about the this part where the goldfish was swimming close to the surface of the water. Now his father told him that there was not enough oxygen in the water. Obviously the living thing, this fish over here, has used up the oxygen. So what could Don do to ensure that there is enough oxygen in water? Now Don could either change the water or put on an air pump, okay, by pumping air into the water. At the same time, the more of the air from the surface or from outside will be sucked and pumped into the water, and more air or the oxygen should dissolve into the water, right? And now Don asked his father why the dodo bird was no longer found on Earth. Now his father told him that they were hunted, killed, which led to their extinction, no longer exists, right? Now which important characteristics living things need to ensure that their kind continues to live on Earth? So to continue to live on Earth, living things must continue to reproduce, right? To help ensure that their kind do not go extinct. Okay, let us continue from here. This diagram shows a leaf. This is a heart-shaped leaf with jagged edges, okay, and network vein. Okay, so the edge of this leaf is jagged, the vein pattern is network. Now what is the main function of the leaf? Right, its main function is to help make food. Now is to help make food for the plant, not give food, not any other thing, but just help to make food. All right. Next. Okay, so over here, Luke placed the potted plant in the black box as shown in diagram 1. Now the black box had been opening on one side of the box. He placed the whole box in a well-lit place and watered the plant daily. Okay, means the surrounding is well lit. Now the box over here, before that it was a black box cover up. Okay, but the surrounding is filled with light. And later on, he did something at the side over here. Okay, he did something at the side over here. He opens up an opening. Okay, and the plant grows this way. Okay, the plant grows towards the light. All right. Now, so indicate with a cross on the black box to show where the opening could be in diagram 2. Okay, so the opening must be here. Luke's friend, right, Oscar, think that the plant grew this way as there was no room for it to grow upwards. I say, so there's no room to grow upwards, it grew down this way. Right, was Oscar correct? Obviously not. Okay, so we explain answer. Here we get half mark for saying no, and the other half mark for explaining. All right, is just say that because there's an opening over here, plants move towards light to make food. That's all. Next, why was it important for Luke to use a black box in this experiment? Right? Why he doesn't need to? Why he need not have to use boxes like glass or paper boxes and so on. Okay, a dark box will actually block all the light from coming in, and when you open up the hole here, it will more or less create an opening, a direction as to where you expect the plant to point itself to or to grow itself towards. All right, so over here it says it is to ensure that the plant only receives light from the opening. All right, and that is why, just to prove that it moves towards that direction. Next. Okay, Peggy placed a slice of toasted bread and a slice of untoasted bread, okay, on the table for 5 days. Which slice of bread is most likely to have mold growing? Right, in order to have mold to grow, you need to have water. All right, the toasted bread, okay, is definitely drier, much more drier than the untoasted bread. Okay, so the untoasted bread would most likely, okay, have mold growing on it because it has water. All right, so we explain the answer. It has more moisture compared to the dry, okay, much dry toasted bread. Right, the untoasted bread has more moisture in it compared to the toasted bread. See, now Peggy then placed another slice of untoasted bread. Okay, untoasted means normal bread, not so dry, in the refrigerator. All right, however, she observed that the mold, instead of 5 days or few days, it only started growing on the bread after 15 days, much longer time. Why? It is because of the cold from the refrigerator slows down, okay, the growing process, or what do you call the word is called, it inhibits, right, the growth of the mold. So they're slower, much lower, all right, in cold temperature, all right, cold environment. Okay, let us continue. Take a look at the frog. All right, the sequence will be C, B, D, E, A, and state one difference between stage C and stage D. Okay, so C, alright, and D. Obviously this is found in the water. This is found, this can live on both land and in water. So let's just take a look. Stage C can move on land and in water, while stage D can only, this part will be can only move in water, not cannot. Alright, just one of us just to make sure that it's alright. Let's say can, not cannot. Sorry about that. Okay, of course you may talk about the other areas. The adult frog, which is in stage C, okay, stage, the stage, this is stage, let me see, C, and stage D, stage D over here. Alright, see, the adult frogs will compare, as you want to compare, it breathes through its lungs and skin. Now for this case, it breathes through its gills. Alright, that is another comparison. Next. Right, as usual, what you need to do is, as you read through, it says lay eggs, no, then you put it, right, A over here, it does not lay eggs. Right, most probably it gives birth, or it reproduces by cell division and so on. Now, or by spores, A over here. Now, so if they do lay eggs, it means this yes over here, it means B, C, D, they do lay eggs. Right, that is why I place here lay eggs, and lay eggs. Okay, okay. Now 4-stage life cycle, yes, so this is 4-stage life cycle, and the others must be, right, must be probably 3-stage or any other stage. I'm not very sure. So what I know of is only 4 or 3 stage. Okay, now so at least I put here not 4-stage, right, over here not 4-stage. So the next one asked, does the young resemble the adult? No. So quickly put, it does not resemble the adult. Over here, yes, and I put it resemble the adults. Now, which of the following A, B, C, D, E best represent the following animals? Let's take a look at A, no laying of eggs. Let's take a look. Which one? Obviously it's the rabbit, the mammal, the rest lay egg. So A, you put it here. Take a look at the frog. The frog says C. Okay, does the young resemble the adult? No. So it is the frog, and you double check, not 4-stage, 3-stage, okay, and does not resemble the adult, and they lay egg. Fine. Butterfly lay eggs, okay, which is over here, and 4-stage, all right, of the life cycle. The cockroach resembles the adult, okay, the young is not 4-stage, and they lay egg. Next, from the flow chart above, state one difference between animals C and D. Now for here you have to watch out, do not state any other difference when you see this frog and cockroach. You must refer to the flow chart over here. Difference between C and D. Okay, let's take a look. Lays egg, same, lays egg. Not stage 4, okay, not on the fourth stage life cycle. Now the only difference is this one does not resemble the adult, and this one resembles, okay, the adult. No other way, only this answer, right? So animal C does not have its young resembling the adult. Animal D's young resembles its adult. Next. Okay, just draw a life cycle of a cockroach. Sorry, not cockroach over here. It says grasshopper. Again, probably some mistake in the work. Okay, you put grasshopper. Okay, write out grasshopper over here. And grasshopper has its nymph. Alright, over here, sorry, it's a grasshopper. Okay, now name two characteristics of a young of the grasshopper that is different from its adult. The nymph has no wing, okay, right? And you must talk about the adult. The adult has. The nymph moves, okay, the adult, okay, doesn't. Of course, the other one you can talk about is reproduction, right? The adults can reproduce and the nymph does not, okay? Next. Now the grasshopper flew onto an anthrostable. Which stage of its life cycle was this grasshopper at? Okay, obviously the adult stage because it can fly. Let's carry on to the next one. This is the Aedes mosquito. Now it caused a disease called the dengue fever. Recently, there have been a number of record of people falling ill after being bitten by it. Now, where do mosquitoes lay their eggs? Right, of course, in water, but for mosquitoes, there are many other animals that lay their eggs in water, but especially for the mosquito, they would prefer to lay in stagnant water, where the water is still and not flowing, or it does not have any waves and so on, just stagnant water. So in order to somehow terminate or stop on the life cycle of the mosquito, to stop them from breeding, the two ways are cover stagnant water with a layer of oil, and of course pour away stagnant water. These are the few ways of doing it. All right, one of two or many ways of doing it. Now next over here, part B is the seed coat. The seed coat protects the seed actually, and function of A, this is actually the small little leaf that coming out. Okay, it is remember, it is to make food for the plant. Okay, at this moment it does not really perform complete photosynthesis. All right, it is about to, and the food is being supplied from the cotyledon over here, right? So you say to make food. What's the function? To make food for the plant in future, okay, which could be very soon. Now 42, the sequence is the stage B, D, C, A. Now which state the plant makes its own food? Okay, check. Okay, it will be this part. Okay, over here may not be accepted as this moment because it is just coming out from the cotyledon, and it is still relying very much on the supply over here. All right. Of course, you may not be marked wrong as if you put C, A and C, okay, because it starts to make food, okay, but it is much clearer in answer if you put A. Next, what will happen to the plant if the roots were removed? Now you must straight away know the function of the roots. There are two things. First, it holds the plant firmly onto the ground. That's number one. Number two, it absorbs water and mineral salts. So what happens if you cut the roots off and remove them? Okay, first over here, the answer comes here. What happens, right? It would wither and die. Okay, then it say why? Because it would not be able to perform its function of getting water for the plant to keep it survive, to keep it alive, right? So the plant is a living thing, it needs air, food and water. So you cut off the water supply, all right, it will somehow wither and die. All right, now this take note. Tom wanted to find out the conditions that would enable seed to grow. Now he placed an equal number of seeds into 4 similar dishes. Now this is a fair test. The seed, the amount of seed, the number of seeds are the same, containing the same amount and kind of cotton wool. Okay, you do not have a very large cotton wool or some small patches of cotton wools. Now the 4 dishes were placed in 4 different locations and water daily. Okay, now they're placed in different locations. The first one in the room, second in the freezer, in the garden, and a silk box. Now take a look at the temperature. This one in the room, room temperature, freezer will be very cold. In the garden, open air, and silk box probably will also, just remember they are for seeds. For seeds. Now silk box will not necessarily have no air. Okay, right, there's definitely some air left inside, and definitely some air can seep in. Okay, but of course a silk box is a box that prevents, most probably prevents light from entering. Now in which of these dishes would the seed not grow after 3 days? Okay, the rest are of the probably similar to room temperature, okay, or near room temperature, but the freezer is much colder, so is dish B will not grow. Explain why: because it's too cold for the seed to germinate. Now of course I need to explain here, it does not mean that it will not germinate after a while, right? Now the conditions are all right, just that the temperature is cold and it will inhibit the growth, okay, or the germination of the seed, and thus it could germinate much longer or much later. Now what other conditions were present in the other dishes to cause the seed to grow? Of course, the only thing I can think of at this moment is that the temperature is different. A, C, and D is totally different from B. B is the odd one out, so it is the warmth needed. Okay, now besides having the presence of water and air, okay, now water and air is already there. Even the silk box, there could be some air. Definitely air is sufficient. All right, and the seed has its own, okay, food inside source. Okay, so water and food is there. It is the warmth that cause, or that would lead dish A, C, and D to germinate. Okay, and dish B will be much later. Okay, now this graph over here, you have to really put the numbers down. Here says as a seed 10 days, as a seedling 8 days, over here 4 and 10 days. Now this is the adult stage, right? It means the plant leaves, okay, as an adult. For this case it is 16 days, and this is 19 days. Now what happens is that the farmer wants to quickly, okay, cut off or cut off the plant to sell. All right, cut off this particular vegetable to sell, and it got to be harvested, means taken off as quickly as possible when it is fully grown. Now watch out, if it's fully grown, it means it is at the adult stage. Let's start from here, okay, before it goes up to those days over there. Okay, now so once this one takes 10 plus 8 to become 18 days to become an adult. For this is 4 plus 10. All right, let's take a look. Now it says which one would be as quickly as possible, which type, A or B. Of course the answer says A because it's shorter. How would you answer? To be fully grown, type B requires only 14 days. Okay, 14 days straight away. On the 15th day it become an adult, you can cut it straight away. But this one has got to wait until the 19th day, then you can cut it off. Alright, that is how you answer. Okay, that's all. Hope you understand and do your corrections well. Thank you.